Hello and welcome to Blitheway Business News. For this edition, I'm joined by the team from Pantheon Resources. Pantheon is listed on the AIM market in London with a ticker of PANR and a market capitalization which has sometimes been 550 and 600 million sterling. I've got on the show Jay Cheatham, the Chief Executive, and Bob Rosenthal, who's the Technical Director. Gentlemen, welcome back on the program. You've been busy since you were last here. Can you give us a very quick update on the company, where you are, and then we'll get into some of the more recent achievements?
Sure, Tim. Well, when we talked in December, we had just finished that $96 million fundraise, which was hugely successful, hugely impactful for the company. And now we're putting those dollars to work. So right now, we have operations going on at our Talitha A well that we drilled a year ago and cased, and we'll go back in and test that. And just yesterday, our Nordic Calista rig moved off, excuse me, Tim, moved off the Talitha A location and trucked at 1 mile an hour over to our Theta West location. If anybody that's watching this hasn't seen the videos, please go in and look at the videos. They're incredible. And now, so the Nordic Calista rig is now over at the Theta West location. So we now have operations going on at both locations, Tim.
Well, Jay, in the recent announcements, you have said you've de-risked the project and you've talked about now being funded. You also talked about the project now being on full steam ahead. I'm not quite sure that in Britain that's what we understand by a rig moving at 1 mile an hour, but nevertheless, we take the point. You've announced some operational updates on the North Slope. Give us some detail on how things are progressing there.
Tim, progressing really well, and our partners that built our pads did a wonderful job. So we have now moved the Nordic Calista rig off of the Talitha A location, and it chugged, as you say, full steam ahead at 1 mile an hour over to the Theta West location. It's on location there, and we will spud that well imminently. A lot of work to get ready to spud it, but that will happen very shortly. Over at Talitha A, we'll move in the Schlumbers A frac unit. We'll move in the X-Pro flowback equipment. We will perforate the lower basin floor fan first. We will frac it, and then we will get our flowback information there. So a first for Pantheon now, we have what we in the industry call simultaneous operations. We have operations going on at Theta West and at Talitha A. And Bob can explain more what we expect out of the Theta West well.
Let's come to you now, Bob, if we may, and let's just talk about the forthcoming season, please. And what's your hopes, your expectations? What are you hoping to achieve in this next season?
Well, as Jay's alluded to, we've got a massive program underway right now. Talitha, we're planning to test 4 zones in the Talitha well, the basin floor fan, 2 zones in the slope system, and in the shelf margin deltaics. At the same time, we're going to be drilling and testing the basin floor fan system at Theta West location. So these operations are to prove up almost 17 billion barrels of oil in place, over 1.4 billion barrels of oil, recoverable, which we believe is contingent. So, I mean, this is significant. I mean, this is a huge program in and of itself. But just even to remind everybody, immediately following these 2 wells, the operations on these 2 wells, we are going to get out and go and drill the Alkaid 2, which is a horizontal well at Alkaid, to get it on production and get a long-term production test at the discovery that we've made at Alkaid. And remember, that's right next to the haul road, and which means we can truck the oil up and down the haul road. So this year, it's prove up billions of barrels of hydrocarbons. It is to get our first production, on stream, and it's all going to happen within this year. That's a massive program for any company. It's a huge program, and for a company like Pantheon, which owns 100% of these projects. So it's a big year.
I mean, just to remind people, it's only a year ago, I guess, 12 months that you were first drilling Talitha A. So just, the two of you, just step back and look at Pantheon. I mean, Pantheon then and now. Jay, how much has it changed?
I mean, it's huge, Tim. Just from a funding standpoint, we're now fully funded for at least 2 years of operations. As Bob said, we're going to drill the Alkaid 2 horizontal well. We'll likely also drill a second Alkaid well. I don't know whether we'd call that Alkaid 3, but further south along the Dalton Highway, potentially at the end of this year, have 2 wells producing, trucking oil up the Dalton Highway. And as Bob said, what we're hoping to prove up with the Theta West well and the testing at Talitha A, 17 billion barrels oil in place, all accumulated on our acreage, over 2 billion barrels recoverable contingent resource. And to have that funded now, Tim, is so important. And it's just a totally different company. We're adding personnel, which is necessary for the operations. And so it really starting to feel like a real company now, Tim.
Okay.
And I'd just like to add just one other point, if I could. It's like last year when we were drilling Talitha, we had, we had some of the Theta West acreage, but while we were drilling the well, we increased our acreage position so that we have over 80% of the Theta West project, captured now on new acreage that the state has awarded to us. So, I mean, that too is a big difference for us. I mean, so here's a massive project funded, and, we're kind of like a superb position.
You guys are based in the USA, the assets in Alaska. Many of the shareholders are over here in the UK and Europe. So I just want to ask you to finally, Jay, I mean, in the next few weeks, months, any plans for communicating with shareholders, any meetings coming up you just want to make people aware of?
Yes, absolutely, Tim. Well, we have our AGM on the 24th of this month. And after the AGM, we're going to have a webinar. And Michael Duncan, who is our Vice President of Operations and Engineering, will be the primary presenter at that webinar. He will talk through the operations at Talitha A, the operations at Theta West. He will talk about the plans for the Alkaid 2 horizontal well, and we will give guidance, which is what everybody wants to hear, on expected flow rates out of these operations. So that'll be a big webinar for us. I hope we'll have a lot of attendees. I'm sure we will.
Well, thanks for that, gentlemen. Good to see you both. Keep coming back, keep us updated, and good luck with the webinar. That was Jay Cheatham and Bob Rosenthal from Pantheon Resources, updating us on the progress they're having in Alaska. That's it from Blytheway Business News for this edition. Thanks for watching.